Hello and welcome to another episode of the Smash Accept podcast. I'm your host, Michael Royer. You can find me on Twitter at Dynasty Dad FF. Joined as always by my main man at FF Snoog. In today's show, we're super excited because we keep talking rebuilds and everybody's been really excited about that. And if you're in that area where you're not going to make the playoffs, check out that show because it's going to be a lifesaver. It's going to put you ahead for 2026 and beyond. But now what we're trying to do is just a guide to go all in, and Snoog, this is just as much fun. Dynasty rebuilds are a blast because you're like, I'm trading this, I'm trading that, I'm trading this is what I'm trying to do. Then you talk about going all in, and that's just as much fun, except there's going to be some money at the end, and that's what's really exciting this time of year.
Yeah, keep that in mind. Like everybody, I tell everybody in the Discord and Twitter, I'm like, we play this game to win money at the end and brag, right? Like that's the main goal. You never want to rebuild, right? It's kind of something you have to do. It's fun to do it, but we're here to help you set up this guide to smash the next 6 to 7 weeks. And we're prepping you for the playoff stretch right now. Because now if you have your 26 first, you have some seconds. Now's your time to put your team over the edge, push the chips in, as I like to say, and go all in. So we're going to kind of give you a step-by-step guide right now on how to do it.
And here's the link down below if you're interested if you ever wanted to be part of a community where there's thousands of people talking shop 24/7, talking about Dynasty, redraft, everything you need with all of our rankings, patreon.com/smashaccept. Give us a shot. Right now, you use code Brock50. You get in for 50% off. Luckily, we got Brock coming back to the show this week. He's the GOAT. We're excited to have him back. The first part of this process is actually, we talk about the first step of the rebuild process is just assessing your roster. This is the same going all in. You're like, okay, is this team good enough? Am I a contender if I have an injury or two? Like, what do I need? And are the max points for there? Am I 1 or 2 games out? Am I, I think there's a lot that goes in there where sometimes people are just sitting at, oh, I'm the 7th seed. Let me just trade my first. And that's the biggest pitfall in Dynasty that drives me nuts is I did that for years where it's like, oh, I'm the 7th seed right now. I better trade I trade a first for Aaron Rodgers. I'm the 7th seed. Let me trade my first for this guy. And then after a while, you're like, okay, I'm void of picks. I'm in no man's land. But Snoog, talk to me about how you assess your probability to win, because I have some where I'm right now 9-1, and that's a no-brainer, right? So we're not even talking about those right now. How do you assess where you're going to be at, and if you're all in, ready to go for a smash title?
There's 2 things I always look for, right? If my team's outside of the top 3, I want to figure out why. Is it because of injuries? Did I have, a Bucky Irvin, a Marion Hampton, a Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb early on who missed time? Did I have a Rashee Rice who was suspended? I like to look at that and see why I am where I was. Maybe I have the most points for up against me, but I really have a top 2 team. I just had some bad luck. Really look at that front. Make sure all of that is looking good. If so, I want to make sure I have depth. If I have, 2 or 3 starting QBs in a super flex league, if I have a couple starting running backs that I can plug in, do I have a backup tight end? Do I have a couple wide receivers on my bench that I'm confident I could roll out, like a Tez Johnson, like a Cortland Sutton, and those guys on that front? And then do I have draft capital? Do I have the draft capital to push my team over the top? Say I have an elite squad, but I'm starting David Njoku at tight end. Do I have an extra 26 first plus to go get a Sam Laporta, to go get, some of these tight ends like that are balling out, a George Kittle, some of these guys we're going to talk about on the show? Do I have the picks to acquire some guy to put myself over the top? Really what I'm focusing on when learning and figuring out the league and what my team looks like in comparison to competitors.
Right now, I'm looking at my teams and I'm looking at my quarterbacks. And outside my top 12 Dynasty quarterbacks, it becomes a wasteland. It becomes an area where it's like, man, I got to start Bo Nix. I got to start CJ Stroud, JJ McCarthy, Sam Darnold's been really good, so I'm not going to say that. Yeah. But you got to start some of these guys, and you're like, you don't feel comfortable. The guy I'm buying right now is if I have Joe Burrow, and I have all my leagues where I have Joe Burrow, nobody will give me anything, nothing of proper value. So instead, I'm going out there. I'm getting a guy like Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's super flex equivalent. I would pay a late 26 first. I think value in the market right now is more like an early second. But Snoog, this guy has been unbelievable. In 6-point passing, we're looking at 4 straight 30-plus point performances. He's on pace for 46 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions. The man is playing on another level. He is the guy to go by. And honestly, I went through my 22 leagues today, and only 4 of them he was on a top 3 team. The rest of them, he kind of finds himself in those middling teams. And I don't know if you find the same thing, because like the all-in teams, they have Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, all those big time guys. Matthew Stafford tends to be floating somewhere in the middle in most of your leagues. And I think if you float a late 26 first, a pair of 26 seconds, you can come away with a guy like Matthew Stafford, who has a very nice schedule upcoming here to get you a championship.
That he's had 30 plus in 5 of the 6 last games he's played in 6-point passing. He's got San Fran, Seattle, Arizona, Detroit, and Atlanta all throughout the next, and Tampa Bay throughout the next couple of games. Like, those are all good offenses that are going to put up points in shootouts, divisional games. Some of them have awful defenses. Like, Matthew Stafford is about to continue this MVP stretch he's having right now. I'm expecting, 20 to 25 plus points in all those games. This is a guy with the weapons, Puka back, Devontae Adams. He's got the run game. He's got the offensive line behind him. He's a guy producing, as a top 5 quarterback that you can get for less than a first. That's like the number one piece I'm looking at, right? You had Burrow, you had Jaden Daniels. Go get a Matthew Stafford to fill in for him in the meantime, rather than giving up 2 or 3 firsts for another quarterback. So you have 3 elite quarterbacks.
Or you go get a George Kittle. And this is where I think when you look at these type of leagues, you and I have a ton of wide receivers. We have a ton of players that fill into the spots. But when it comes to tight end and quarterback, there are very few guys that you can just go ahead and plug and play. They're going to put up crazy points. I have Kittle and Stafford both in that 201 to 202 range. Most teams are going to want a first. I'm not opposed to giving, if it's tight end premium, a late 26 first. I'd rather do a pair of seconds. I'd rather get creative with it. But you look at this past week, I mean, he's had 3 weeks back. He was tight end 8, tight end 28. I know people got upset about that. And this past week, 9 targets, 9 receptions, 84 yards, ball out week with a touchdown. He's got 2 touchdowns in 3 weeks. I mean, Snoog, the schedule gets really juicy for George Kittle. I mean, I'm looking at this right now, and he's got Arizona this week, which is tough. But then Carolina, and then in the fantasy playoffs when it really matters, Tennessee, Indianapolis, and Chicago. Indianapolis is bottom 5 against the tight end. Chicago's bottom 5 against the passers in general. So, like, this team here, even if Purdy doesn't come back, and that's the good part here, is if Purdy comes back, Kittle is the apple of his eye, right? But if he doesn't come back, Mac Jones is playing to a level where, we talk about quarterbacks to get thrown in. I mean, if I can get Mac Jones thrown in a deal, I love that. Jacoby Brissett, another all-in guy that you just go look at somebody and you're like, here's a pair of thirds, get him off my team. And I think that's the way to do it. But Kittle should smash the rest of the season.
I see a bunch of crap defenses on the rest of his year schedule other than the Cleveland Browns in Seattle in week 18, which doesn't even matter for us. I see, 5 smash matchups that coming up. 6 smash matchups, actually, where George Kittle could literally come out there and drop 15 to 20 plus points, whether it's Mac Jones or Brock Purdy. When Brock Purdy's there, he's literally the best tight end in football from a fantasy points perspective the last couple of years with Purdy as the starter. I think Mac Jones is starting to realize I need to lean on this guy more. He's my most reliable target. Hamstrings looking good. He's dominating as a pass catcher and pass blocker. They're getting him more involved. So definitely one of the best tight ends in football still to this day.
Step 2 is keeping your future in perspective. And I want to look at this from 2 different angles. 1, don't trade your first. Be creative. You know what I mean? A lot of times people just trade their future. They're like, 27 first is 2 years away. You're going to regret that. The 27 class is phenomenal. 2028 is 3 years away. I'm going to trade that. Just stop. Just stop. Be creative on how you do it. On the other side, sometimes people, like at this particular type of season, they want to hold on to their Keon Colemans, their, guys like that. I'm taking Keon Coleman. I'm adding a second, and I'm tearing up to Devontae Adams all day long. Like, I don't want people to look at their future and be like, okay, I had all these guys I took in the second round, Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris, even a Luther Burden. If you have an opportunity, and I'm buying Luther Burden everywhere, so don't take that the wrong way. But if you have an opportunity to go all in and win it all, like most leagues, that pays for the next 10 years. So, like, what is the point of holding on to a Trey Harris when you can go get a Devontae Adams? And you look at this, during this stretch where Matthew Stafford has been so good, he has QB wide receiver 9, wide receiver 6, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 12. Snoog, he leads the NFL in red zone targets and end zone targets. And you can have him for less than a first. I would ultimately pay a late 26 first if it's 11 or 12, but I think he's worth the 201 right now. And Devontae Adams has been worth the 201 for 3 years. Like we've been on the same thing where you and I have been like, go buy Devontae Adams for a late first. And now he's like, he's lost no value. He's won you multiple championships. Why not one more?
Yeah, exactly. And you hit it on the head there. Like, we're talking about Matthew Stafford with this big stretch coming up, Seattle twice, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Detroit, Atlanta, like
revenge.
Detroit, absolute shootout game. Tampa Bay, absolute shootout game. I think both those Seattle games are going to be shootouts too. Yeah, Seattle's D looks great. I don't care when it's Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Devontae Adams, right? Especially when Adams is viewed as the number 2 option there. They're going to eat regardless. But Carolina, Arizona, and Atlanta, like, those are potential 25-plus point games for Devontae Adams, Dad. 9 touchdowns through, 10 weeks. He's on pace, like we said, preseason. This is going to be a player that puts up 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns in this offense. He's going to damn well do it. So it can't be a big Matthew Stafford stretch without a big Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua stretch. Hint, 1 you have to pay 3 first for, 1 you have to pay an early second for. You do the math there.
And we're talking about buying guys, and we just did a show on this, but you got to buy Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle, over the last 6 weeks, has averaged 18 touches. Over the last 4 as a starter, as the bell cow, has been 20 plus. His schedule coming up, and right now I would, and you're gonna yell at me, but I would pay the 112. Same kind of thing. Do you have to? Probably not. But I think if you go out there and you kick the tires with the manager, I mean, I saw Tez Johnson in a second. I would love to do that. We talk about a lot of those wide receivers that are in that no man's land. I mentioned Jaden Higgins, but there's a ton of guys that are in that area with, they could pan out at one point, but are they ever going to be worth a first? Probably not. Are they going to win you a championship like Rico Dowdle's about to? Probably not. And Rico Dowdle's schedule is juicy. Look at this, Snoog. He's got Atlanta in week 11. Then he's got San Fran in 12. San Fran's a bottom 10 run defense. Rams are tough in week 13. Week 14 bye, which I love. He gets the bye right before the fantasy playoffs. Then he gets New Orleans, Tampa Bay, and Seattle. Tampa Bay and New Orleans are both bottom 10 against the run. Rico Dowdle is a league winner. He's a guy that you're going to go out there and you're going to throw the 112. You're going to throw a pair of seconds. You're going to throw a second plus a I don't know, Blake Corum, like there's a lot of guys where people they get excited about a Bashal Tootin, a Blake Corum, Brian Robinson. You go out there, you get yourself a Rico Dowdle, and you go win a championship.
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed that. I mean, back-to-back weeks with 70+% of snaps. Doesn't matter that Chuba Hubbard's back. Rico Dowdle's better. He's the starter. He's the guy. Got some smash matchups coming up, which you're looking for, right? This time of the year, I'm telling people will be like, oh, Snoog, how do you determine what vet you want to buy? How do you determine, do you want George Kittle or do you want Travis Kelce? I look at the schedules, I look at the cost of acquisition for the player, and that's what I go off a lot of the times. Like, that's what you want. Those big matchups really matter, especially in week 15, 16, 17. Right here, you see New Orleans, you see the Buccaneers. Seattle's a tough one, but he can still get it done there with the volume. So big matchups for Rico Dowdle coming up.
Next part here I like a lot is you start to look for plug and play guys. Like you start to look for guys that if you're not a playoff team, you don't want them on your roster. If you are, you're trying to go all in. I mean, I look at a couple guys here that if you go ahead and you scour the rosters, let's start at the tight end position. Is Cade Otton is a guy that I try to get thrown in. Travis Kelce, he's the Dynasty tight end 16. Equivalent of a late second, 208, 212. In the early part of the season, you could not get a second for him. If you're rebuilding and you have him, you can get a second for Travis Kelce right now. But I would be willing to go in and try to buy a Travis Kelce. And I know a lot of people look at it and they say, well, Dad, like Rashee Rice is back. This is Kelce. Hasn't been quite as productive. It does not matter. That's a load of crap. He's been tight end 2 and tight end 8 over the last 2 weeks. The schedule over the back half is not the prettiest. They're all kind of middling to tough defenses outside of Indianapolis, but
and Dallas and Tennessee.
With the Chiefs, it don't matter. They're going to put up points. They're going to score 20 plus a game. And I think Travis Kelce is the cheaper version of George Kittle right now. Will you have him next year? No, you will not. But are you willing to trade AJ Barner in a second? You should, and I think that's where people start to they get cheap, right? Somebody doesn't want a second. They're like, oh, throw me, like Elijah Arroyo. All right, done. Here you go. Get it done. I want to win a championship, and like There's a difference between how you and I do it and then other people that kind of pussyfoot around it. Go win yourself a championship with the Travis Kelce type. And a couple of running backs that we're going to talk about, like Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, like I'm all in on these guys. Give me Travis Kelce right now. And I think if you get creative enough, like I made a trade and I don't know if you're going to love it or not, but it was Colston Loveland for a mid-27 first and Travis Kelce. And I'm fine with that because Travis Kelce is going to put up your points if you have the insulation. So you don't have to be completely like sell youth to get it. You can actually insulate. And a lot of people, like right now, I'm telling people to sell Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's probably not going to play too much in the next couple of weeks for Devontae Adams, a mid-27 first plus, because then you insulate, you get something in the future. You have someone to ball out right now, and you go ahead and you get that Travis Kelce.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kelce's top 5 tight end right now. And right now with the schedule is coming up, he's got Dallas, he's got Indy, he's got the Chargers, he's got the Titans, Denver twice. Like those are some big shootout type games that he's going to be in. Some tough defenses, but it doesn't matter with Travis Kelce and the Chiefs. So definitely a great one there.
And the next two guys is like, I want running backs that are going to win me championships. I right now, Aaron Jones' schedule is juicy. Like Kamara, let's pull up Kamara first because you have him up here right now. Alvin Kamara has a very good week this past week. He's starting to turn the corner a little bit. And I honestly believe that you can get Alvin Kamara for less than a late second. I would be willing to pay a late second, but I've seen people package like Jordan Mason in a third. I've seen them package, players that are starting to underperform and then throw a third on top of it. And Alvin Kamara has the ability to score points. And even if he isn't in your lineup right away, he's got a lot of good matchups coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see Atlanta, Miami, Tampa Bay, Carolina, the Jets, the Titans. I see like 5 or 6 bottom 5 defenses, bottom 10 defenses in the NFL right now. Shuck had a decent game last week against Carolina. I think Kamara's going to get it going, get some touchdowns in there. Want to see him utilized more as a receiver, but coming off 25 plus total touches. So, I mean, if you can get a player like that for that cheap, Dad, and then just piggyback and jump right into Aaron Jones. I mean,
Aaron Jones. Look at 14 through 16. All bottom 5 run defenses. Washington, Dallas, and New York. That's insane.
Detroit. Detroit's not that great defense at all.
He's got a ton of upside. He's got a ton of potential. In the last 2 weeks since they've ramped him up, I mean, this week was the first time that he went above 60%, snap share, but he had 9 carries for 47 and a touchdown. He had 6 targets. He is the guy with the juice on this offense. Yeah, a lot of people really love Jordan Mason. Aaron Jones is the guy that has more juice. Are these guys that have longevity? No. When you go ahead and you buy a guy like this, you're banking on a 1-year rental. But at the quarterback position, we have perfect guys like this. Joe Flacco. A pair of thirds to buy Joe Flacco puts you in an elite spot.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett. Sure. Give up a pair of fourths and get Jacoby Brissett. He is going to start the rest of the year, and he has put up 20 points every single week, right? The other guys you have in that area, Mac Jones, maybe for a week or two. But Snoog, there is such an importance level before we move on to step 4 is people don't understand if I can trade a pair of 4s for Jacoby Brissett and win and get a bye, that's so worth it. Like, I don't understand why people don't want to. They're like, oh, well, I'll just throw somebody in here. And then next thing you know, they start, a wide receiver who puts up 4 points as opposed to paying a couple of fourths. Fourths are dart throws anyways. So the next part I have on here, don't be afraid to sell youth for studs. I think a lot of times this time of year, people just get so caught up having that young, sexy roster. And that's fine. If your young, sexy roster is Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson and, guys that are going to win you championships. When it's a young, sexy list of what ifs, what might be's, go ahead and get Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is going to win you a title. If you have the opportunity to tier up off of, there's so many guys at the running back position that just haven't hit, or guys that are like slightly off. If I can give up Scatabo plus a little bit, I'm fine with Christian McCaffrey. If I can give up RJ Harvey, DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Walker, these are young names, but if I can tier up and I can get Christian McCaffrey for anything close to that 106 value, he's a league winner. He has phenomenal upside, and the schedule is pretty good to go with it.
He has one game below 17 fantasy points, 2 games below 20 plus fantasy points this season, Dad. That's ridiculous. And he has Carolina, Arizona, Tennessee, Indy, Chicago coming up. This dude's literally about to average 25 plus fantasy points a game in this stretch coming up. I guarantee you this dude is going to have like a couple 30 and 40 bombs with these matchups. Like, you can't say George Kittle's matchups aren't banging without Christian McCaffrey, because it's literally those two. They're the main headed weapons in that offense. They're carrying that offense to where they are. They're a playoff team right now. We don't have to worry like we did last year with these guys being shut down because the team sucks, right? Now they're actually finally a playoff team. They're right now, 5 or 6 wins on the year. Like, they have a lot of wins coming up too. Like, you're about to see a big Christian McCaffrey stretch. Probably one that if he outscores Jonathan Taylor the rest of the season, Dad, I wouldn't be shocked. And I know that'd probably be a hot take for a lot of people with how JT's been playing. But the matchups, I mean, JT still got Houston twice. He's got some tough matchups coming up.
And they could slow him down. They could definitely slow him down.
They're so good, yeah.
And that's something this time of year where you look at guys like my next guy, wide receiver, T. Higgins. They're not shutting him down anytime soon. They're fighting for a spot. And since Joe Flacco has been on this team, he has had 8 targets in 3 of the 4 games. He has had, 96 yards, 121 yards, 62 yards in 3 out of the 4 games. He has 4 touchdowns over that time period. Like, T. Higgins is a league winner. And look at what happens after the bye. He gets Pittsburgh, bottom 5. They give up 300 passing yards a game. He gets New England, bottom 10. Baltimore, bottom 5. Twice, 2 Baltimore shootouts, potentially putting up crazy points. Then he gets Buffalo in week 14, Miami in week 16. This is juicy. Give me Flacco. Give me Chase.
One of the best parts.
You're not going to be able to find Chase, get T. Higgins, and his price, the 106.
That's the best part. Better than the price. Joe Burrow's practicing today.
Is that better? No.
Is
he really?
I mean, he is.
That's
they
crazy.
Have playoff hopes still, I think. What are they, 4 wins? Like, maybe, probably not, but that division's been so bad. Like, the Steelers are winning the division right now. And with these matchups the rest of the season, if Joe Burrow comes back, I mean, it's kind of crazy to say. It feels almost like it doesn't matter if it's Flacco or Burrow, right? Like, he's going to get his regardless. It's probably a little bit of an upgrade with Burrow for T. I think the bigger upgrade comes with Jamar. But, like, T. Higgins, man, Dad, you hit it on the head there. Like, he's playing lights out. He was wide receiver 2 in points per game last year when they were all healthy. This year he's been, like, I think top 10 in points per game since Flacco came in. So definitely a guy that has some good shootouts coming up. Baltimore, you're going to see twice. Bengals always light them up. You got Miami in there. You got New England, some of these teams that are going to put up points, right? New England's a top 5 team, top 4 team in the AFC right now. So you're going to see some really good things coming there for T. Higgins and this Bengals offense.
Next part is I'm scouring the lower level teams. I do this all the time, and it doesn't have to be studs. I mean, like, if you are rebuilding and you're doing it right, you don't want these guys on your team. Like, I actually sold Tyler Algier the other day to a guy that had Bijan for 2 fourths. But guess what? Tyler Algier put up 20 points this week. That saved me from losing the 101, and it gives him insulation and protection. Like, I have no problem getting guys like that off my team, and I have no problem going and buying those kind of guys. You want to buy guys that have upside, that have Brian Robinson Jr., who could be, if Christian McCaffrey were to go down. And there's a lot of guys that you want to invest in that way. Right now, though, a couple guys that I see on a lot of rosters that, the teams that had Malik Neighbors, the teams that had Tucker Kraft, the teams that had Cam Scatterbo are starting to fall out of the playoff picture. And the one guy that I'm trying to buy at the wide receiver position from everybody's team is A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown right now, Dynasty wide receiver 20, roughly in that 107 range. Like, if I can get a mid-ish to late first, A.J. Brown's still a top 10 wide receiver in the league. He is someone that, talent-wise, I would say definitely top 10. You could argue top 5. Like, he's that good and that talented, but the production hasn't been there. Production's been there for Devonta Smith. Why do we want to buy A.J. Brown down the stretch?
Yeah, if you're just looking at from week 2 on, Dad, 8 targets, 10 targets, 9 targets, 8 targets, 9 targets, 6 targets, 2 big games in the past 2 against Minnesota and the Giants. I mean, you saw 2 touchdowns over 120 yards. Those are going to come, right? There was a couple of missed deep balls from Hurts and him, missed connection there. That would have had another, 50, 60-plus yard touchdown in there. Got to look at it with context, but the volume's there. the offensive schedule coming up, like they're going to be in some shootouts. Starting with tonight, they got Green Bay. Then they have Detroit, Dallas, Chicago, the Commanders, and the Bills in the playoffs. Like Vegas, Commanders, Bills,
all
week 15
shootouts.
through 17. I love seeing that for this Eagles offense. I always say, like, Eagles offense is one of those offenses. It doesn't matter who they're playing, right? Like, even if it's a tough defense, if it's going to be a shootout, I'm excited. Like, that's what I care about. Like tonight against the Packers, tough matchup. Last time they played the Packers, AJ Brown cooked them. Both times they played the Packers, AJ Brown cooked them. So I'm really excited for that. But the scheduling coming up to that is nothing to be a joke of. Like, that stretch is crazy.
Staying with the Packers, I mean, Josh Jacobs is the AJ Brown of the running back position. I mean, he's currently RB7. He has had 16 or more carries and pretty much, or 16 or more touches in every single game. He is someone that you look at, he has a touchdown in every game but one, right? He missed a touchdown against Cleveland, but he had one touchdown week 1, touchdown week 2, 2 in week 4, 2 in week 6, 2 in week 7, and 1 in 8 and 9. And now I think he scores again against Philly tonight. And I think his value right now is in that same area. Superflex one equivalent of 107, 108. Don't look at his age. Josh Jacobs, AJ Brown, they're going to be around for the next 2 to 3 years. I'm perfectly fine. Go ahead and trying to invest a late first in a Josh Jacobs because he has league winning upside and the schedule isn't too bad either.
Yeah, 27 years old, tied to a contract on a top 15 scoring offense, workhorse role. Like you said, he's hitting 20-plus touches in most of these games, never mind 16. So that's something big to look at there. But, I mean, what a playoff stretch for him. Chicago and Baltimore in week 16 and 17. He also has Detroit, the Giants, and Chicago leading up to that, Dad. Like, those are 5 or 6 games that he could have, top 5 finishing potential in there. So, definitely a player. I mean, you're giving up that mid to late 26 first. You're a top 4 to 5 team, pushing the chips. Go get a Josh Jacobs to get yourself a stud running back to help take you to the next level. I think that's where you're at here, right? You can't go wrong with that workhorse volume and potential there.
Yo, we were so excited about Josh Jacobs. It literally shut the lights off. That's up here. Anyways, the last step here is, hey, lights are back on. Josh Jacobs, that was a great one to add on there. A lot of comments on this one so far. And the last one here is honestly smash the title with us. I mean, you want to hoist one of these bad boys up. You want to say, guys, I won my league. I'm ready to go. The best place to do that is patreon.com/smash accept. That way I can keep the electricity on at my house. Check that out. But Snoog, I mean, smashing that title is what we're here to do, right? A lot of people say, well, I'm not willing to make this trade because I don't want to jeopardize things. I don't want to jeopardize my future. But sometimes you just push the chips in and get it done.
Yeah, right now is the time. Don't be afraid. You have Neighbors on the IR. You have some of these studs on the IR. Don't be scared to take a Malik Neighbors and go get a Drake London and a Josh Jacobs plus, or get a Rashee Rice and a Josh Jacobs plus, right? Like, that's what I'm trying to do. Like, figure out how to still get a top 12 dynasty wide receiver, but get a stud producing vet worth a first. Attached like a CMC, like an AJ Brown, like a Josh Jacobs, someone on that front, because that can really help push you over the top. Getting that 2-for-1 for a player that's not doing anything for you, but has that top first round starter pick value.
Hey, we put it together now. We got a guide for you to go all in. We got a guide for you to rebuild. At Smash Accept, it's top 3 or bottom 3. We're not trying to have you hang out there in the middle for years and just keep wasting your money. So if you guys want access to both of us for anything, whether we can talk about, what you're doing for your rebuilds, what you're doing for your all-ins, guys that are starting this week, start sits, all that stuff, plus all of our content, patreon.com/smash accept. Thanks again for tuning in, guys, and enjoy the process. Get that truth.